Have you ever stepped outside and your locks just instantly started puffing up or getting frizzy or feeling weighed down and heavy? This could be due to the humidity. If you've ever asked yourself how humidity affects your locks, you're not alone. Hey guys, welcome back to the Dreadlock Culture channel. My name is Nadia, and in today's video, we're talking about how humidity affects your locks, but more importantly, how to manage your locks in humid climates. But first, if you love locks, then let me know by leaving a thumbs up in this video. And if you're new here and you love lock content, then make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I post another video. To address this issue, we first need to discuss what is humidity. Humidity is excess moisture or water vapor in the air. So let me give you an example. If you're in an environment with 10% humidity, that is a very dry environment and typical of something like a desert climate. If you're in a place with 90% humidity, then there is a heavy saturation of moisture in the environment. So this is more common in tropical climates, and the air will feel very dense and sticky. Now, how would this environment affect our locks? Well, our hair is hygroscopic, which means that it absorbs moisture from the environment. And in humidity, it can actually disrupt the hydrogen bonds within our hair. And the actual effects are going to vary based on your hair porosity type. I go into detail on hair porosity in a previous video, and I will leave that linked in the description in case you don't know what your hair porosity is. I think it's very important when it comes to locks and finding the right balance of moisture for your hair. But in essence, we have low, medium, and high porosity. For low porosity hair, it has a hard time absorbing moisture. And when it comes to humidity, it can cause your hair to just become limp, or it's just going to weigh it down. When it comes to medium porosity hair, this is just like a well balanced in terms of how it absorbs moisture. But with humidity, it might cause a little bit of frizziness or your hair to swell up just a tiny bit. And then we have high porosity hair. In high porosity hair, the moisture will be easily absorbed, but it will also lose moisture easily as well. And so in humid environments, because the hair cuticle is already opened up slightly, then in humid environments, it's actually going to make it worse. It's going to swell up your hair and it's going to cause significant frizziness. So with all of that in mind, you might be wondering, could this cause my hair to get damaged, or will it ruin my locks? And the answer is no, but at the same time, it can cause your hair to be a little bit more difficult to manage. It might make your hair feel weighed down. It might cause a lot of sweatiness on your scalp especially, which can then later cause scalp itchiness. It can cause significant frizziness throughout your hair, but also on your roots. And finally, it can make your hair feel dirtier faster than it normally would. Now, even though it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable and maybe even a little frustrating to manage your locks in this type of a climate, here are a few tips that have helped me when I'm traveling to tropical locations and my hair is just kind of getting in the way. Most of these tips will apply to all hair porosity types, but in the last two tips, I will give one specific to low porosity and then one for high porosity. So in general, you want to make sure that you are drying your locks every single day. And if you've been out and your hair gets sweaty, or you've washed your hair, or you've gone into a pool or the ocean and somehow they've gotten wet that day, make sure that you go to bed with dry locks no matter what. And if by evening time your hair is even somewhat damp, then grab a hair dryer and dry them in the lowest heat setting until your hair is as dry as you possibly can get it by evening time. The second tip is to make sure you are moisturizing your locks with only distilled water and essential oils. Essential oils is the optional ingredient, but it makes your hair smell nice. So I like to combine the two. But do not use a humectant like aloe vera or rose water, because these will actually help to attract more moisture into your hair, and they're ideal for drier climates. But when it comes to humid environments, you're already getting your hair probably saturated in moisture anyway. So be mindful of that. You don't want to put more moisture than it needs to have. Next, if you want to apply some carrier oils to seal in the moisture into your hair, then in the hair porosity video that I mentioned previously, I also discuss the carrier oils that are going to be best used for low porosity, medium porosity, and high porosity hair. Make sure that you watch that video and find which carrier oil is going to work best for your hair porosity type. My next recommendation is that if you are in high humidity, which is anything over 70% humidity, then I would recommend that you cover your hair with a satin scarf. You don't want anything heavy like maybe like a beanie or something, because that's going to make your hair sweat or your scalp sweat a lot. So something like a satin scarf is going to help to keep your scalp cool, but also it's going to protect your hair from absorbing more moisture than it needs to. And if you want to take this one step further, then you can put your hair up in a bun or do it like a protective style. You can do a hair bun, you can do twists, you can do braids, anything that will kind of prevent more moisture, or I guess limit the exposure of moisture into your hair. I think a bun is ideal too, because it's going to keep your hair off of your neck area, and in humid environments, you're already just kind of weighed down by the heat and the way that the moisture feels on your body as is, that it's going to be really uncomfortable with your locks anyway. I recommend putting it up in a bun, and it's just going to keep your shoulders and your neck free from that. For me, it's helped a lot. And then finally, I recommend that you do an apple cider vinegar rinse periodically. This is going to help keep your scalp clean. It's going to reduce some buildup, and it's going to make your hair follicles or your cuticle, it's going to tighten it up. So then it's going to prevent frizziness, and it's going to add shine to your hair. If you have low porosity hair, my recommendation is that you do an ACV rinse maybe once every 4 to 6 weeks. If you have medium porosity hair, I would recommend doing it every 3 to 4 weeks. And if you have high porosity hair, every 2 to 4 weeks would be great. Now, make sure that you're always diluting your apple cider vinegar, because it's way too strong to just put directly on your scalp. So my recommendation generally is 1 part apple cider vinegar to 3 parts water. But if you have a sensitive scalp, then increase that. Maybe just add more water and dilute it more so that it doesn't hurt your scalp. One other thing to keep in mind is that if your locks are not mature yet, apple cider vinegar can actually slightly detangle your hair. So I don't recommend that you do it maybe at the very beginning stages of your lock journey, just because you don't want to reverse the process of maturing. And if you just got a retwist or you just got your roots maintained, then also maybe just give it a few weeks so that it doesn't reverse all the work that you just did. Now for my last 2 tips, if you have low porosity hair, I recommend that you wash your locks with a clarifying shampoo, maybe once every 6 weeks or so. And the reason is because with low porosity hair, your hair already has a hard time absorbing products and moisture. So there is a higher tendency for there to be buildup in your hair. And with the clarifying shampoo, then that helps to remove a lot of that extra buildup. If you have high porosity hair, then my recommendation is that anytime you get your hair wet, or like drenched, whether it's because you've been in a pool or you've gone to the ocean or you've washed it, that you do a final rinse with cold water. And the cold water is going to help seal the cuticle, and yeah, it's going to prevent frizziness and also add some shine to your hair. And those are all the tips that I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you learned something new. And if you happen to live in a humid environment and maybe there's a tip that I didn't mention, would you please leave it for us in the comments so we can all learn together? Because as a community, I think that everybody's opinion counts and matters. So anyway, I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. I will see you very soon. And until next time, keep rocking your locks. Bye.